Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this Draft to Glory-based franchise mode right here on NHL 22. We are in the early stages of August. NHL 23, presumably right around the corner. We actually still haven't really heard anything official about the game, but we know this will probably be one of our last franchise modes here. We might even take a little bit of a break at the end of August, depending on when they announce that the game's coming out. But for now, it's full steam ahead with this team, fresh off of making the playoffs for the very first time and winning a round, no less. This is how we line up heading in to this next season. It is Gavin Sweat, Connor Bedard, and Jyrki Escalainen. Of course, on that top line, you get a look there at the potentials as well. Of course, Bedard, high franchise. Second line is Sami Koistinen, alongside Alexander Zetterberg and Evan Talinder. A third line of Gilbert Corbett, who is okay, but he's not going to be a stud with that potential. Vitaly Grabeshkov here as well at just 19 years old, hoping for a big step up from him this year. And Norm Morrissey also still there in the same exact spot as his fellow winger. Fourth line, Vladimir Antropov is on this team as well, another low elite potential guy, alongside Austin Roast and Marcus Nguyen there as well. So the team, in terms of the forwards, not looking that bad. Very top-heavy still. Defensively, we have Lou Morales alongside Salvador Doan. Second pair of Kevin Korchinski with Christian Backer. And a third pair of Jorg Albrecht. Next to Pablo James, who we held on to. After looking at the attributes, we're going to give him an opportunity to start the NHL level this season to see what he can do. Goaltenders, Oleg Bobrovsky with Charles Machalski, who is, kind of viewed as the future in goal. Yves Gascon is there as well as a backup. In the AHL, well, there's not a ton, right? I mean, there's not a ton. You're looking at Eberle, the low elites. Vic Stolars is never going to make it. Like Jennings, Van Kadishin, they're not going to be anything special. But we do have Luke Prokop down in the AHL, and then Freddie McCutcheon will be the call-up if need be, if James doesn't quite work out. There is also Gannon, the low elite, who's just not going to make it, right? Like, there are some guys with potentials that simply aren't going to make it. We know that's the case, and that's going to continue to be the case, all things considered. But for the most part, I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen in this upcoming season. I'm trying to remember if I had auto-rotate on or off. It is on. I want to turn it off to try to handle this just a little bit more this season. Wanted to note as well the current record book for the team, and we'll actually get a little update on this. I mean, we're in 2028. Obviously for us, Connor Bedard is up there for the scoring. You have Prokop up there just for the outright duration. Escalainen, the penalty minute leader, and Bobrovsky's been our best goalie. So this pretty much what you would expect, I would say, for our particular records. Single season records, though, Ryan Reeves is still up there for penalty minutes, the 1 year that we had him. The rookie numbers, a lot of Bedard, a lot of Bobrovsky, and in terms of the single season game record, Connor Bedard had a 5-goal game back in 2026. I don't know if we caught that at the time when it happened. For the NHL records, don't know if we have any change there. I mean, Chara finished his career second, just 7 games back of tying Patrick Marleau. Marc-Andre Fleury played an absurd amount of games in goal. Ovi, of course, led the way for most goals in the NHL by a ridiculous amount. But this is what the current NHL records, at least career-wise, happen to look like, which maybe isn't that much of a surprise this far into a series. So with that, let's get this show on the road. We do have some goalie coaches there that we ended up signing to fill out our staff. And our coaching staff is pretty damn good, as I will showcase here in a moment once we are actually at the beginning of this season. Of course, we have a back-to-back right out of the gates, but it is an A-plus coach on this team in Marcel Mellock, who 63% team fit, so not too shabby there. Has a President's Trophy to his credit as well, so feeling decent about it. We start off our season against the Oilers. In terms of the ratings, we know we're going to be heavily outmatched. I still want to see what ours happen to be, though. And it is 93, 88, and 80. Not bad. We actually have a better offensive rating than the Oilers. How bad is their team? How is that possible? They have McDavid and Draisaitl. That doesn't make any sense. Let's go take a look at this really quickly. Kind of see what's up. Yeah, no, the ratings in this game are broken as shit, aren't they? If you ever needed evidence, apparently our offense is higher rated than that. If you ever needed evidence that those ratings are broken as hell, there you go. Ridiculous. We do end up losing to the Oilers 7-3 as well. So, yeah, maybe the offense isn't as good as the game was advertising. Just maybe. Just maybe. Michalski's first ever NHL game is a shootout loss. We'll leave him in heading to Madison Square Garden. Gets his first ever win against the Rangers. And we'll run with him up until that Panthers game. Oof, 7-3 loss. Pretty rough there. And a 3-1 win against the Sharks. So maybe not the best run of form for the rookie. Of course, has the X factor there. Definitely want him to continue to develop to take over for Bobrovsky. If at all possible, Bob gets a win there. A lot of back-to-backs in the schedule so far. Lost to Chicago, but we do beat Toronto. And yeah, like I said, I wanted to be a little bit more hands-on now with the goaltenders at this stage, especially since we have set the stage for this team to try to be as competitive as possible. You know, wow, another back-to-back. We kind of, when we decided to go for it last season, we have set ourselves now onto the path of we're trying to make the playoffs every single year because we are likely at this stage too good to tank. And then you get into the conversation of like, well, is it worth banking on the lottery all the time? And the answer there is probably no. So we kind of have to go for it at this stage. I mean, we do have the core pieces to really push for a playoff spot every year. It's just a matter of whether or not we have the depth and whether or not the game wants to be kind to us in the sim as we get back-to-back losses there. So again, we'll swap out Michalski. Bobrovsky has the opportunity to be our main man one more time. Eskalainen leading the way in terms of scoring, and we absolutely crush the Canucks 8-1. Beautiful. Apparently it's going to be a good year for the draft class too. I'll believe it when I see it. Wow, Vegas is terrible at this stage. But yeah, I mean, draft-wise, we're not too worried about that because presumably we will not be a lottery team. We're on a great run of form right now. Of course, I say something and we immediately lose. Stick with the same setup here until we play the Dallas Stars on December 1st. And that's a 7-0 loss. Good Lord. So we are proving to be a little bit streaky. Won't quite take a look at the team stats yet. Actually, 24 games in, that's a pretty good sample size. So let's see what we have. Goaltending-wise, 863 for Michalski, a 903 for Bobrovsky. Oh, Charles, can we send you down without waivers? Yes, we can. You might need a little bit more seasoning in the AHL. Cirelli's been pretty, it's unfortunate, but Cirelli's been pretty good at the AHL level. Michalski's going to be dropped, and we're going to call up our old backup from last season and see if he can kind of carry the weight here after some pretty unfortunate performances from Michalski. Only way to put it. Defensively, Morales, not bad. Salvador Doan, less than ideal, though. Again, Doan's supposed to be that big-time offensive defender for us. Did it give him power play time? Oh, yeah, he's on the top pair. He has no excuse. No excuse. Maybe we got to break him up with Morales. 10 points for Korchinski. He and Backer seem to work pretty well together. And then Albrecht with Pablo James. Not a crazy amount of points. I don't believe James had that power play time, though. No, he does. He does, though. I mean, Backer and Korchinski seem to be playing well. But it's pretty obvious. Like, we need to unlock something with Doan that he just hasn't been able to find yet. And I don't quite know what that is. But we do have the two-ways in Korchinski and Albrecht. And then maybe, honestly, maybe we do just put Pablo James on that top pair with Lou Morales. Backer and Doan. Don't know why I said it that way. And then Korchinski and Albrecht. We could try it. Gavin Sweat, only 18 points. Kind of lacking behind. 22 points for Koistin and 24 for Zetterberg. 17 for Tallinder. we pretty much have to keep Sweat on that top pair. Only 5 points for Gilbert. Yeah, the bottom 6. Not exactly setting the world on fire. Roast hasn't been that bad. 10 points. Don't know if there are any changes I want to make there because, let's be honest, who the hell would I even call up? You know, at this stage, it would be Eberle to try and get some kind of crazy development out of him. Liam Vikeland, who's, again, never going to make it. Like, that's pretty much our options at this stage. Those are it. That's all we got. We do have a severe lack of depth as thankfully, the LA Kings don't snap at least 10 game losing streak to us or against us. We are the top team in the division right now. Lose to Minnesota. We do beat the Islanders, so we'll stay with this goaltending setup until the Capitals game. And off of 2 straight losses. At least there was an overtime loss there. Let's get Cirelli out of there. Let's actually see how Cirelli was doing. 923 in 6 games. Yeah, Curtis deserved that chance. No doubt. Bobrovsky does get the next 2 games because we have had a ton of back-to-backs so far this season, but that did allow us to properly see what goaltender was the best one to run with. Michalski, even at the AHL level, isn't setting the world on fire. That's concerning. I mean, again, you see a goalie with X factors, and we think, okay, that's our guy in the future. But right now, it is not looking overly pretty. As well, you know, bit of a pain in the ass. The back-to-back losses, though, we do like to switch goaltenders up after that. See if Bobrovsky can kind of steal that starting spot here. Plays Ottawa, wins it. San Jose wins it. Beautiful. So we need to see a win here from Cirelli. Otherwise, Bob has kind of earned that starting spot back, which is nice. He is kind of our great hope there, especially, too, we gave him that brand new, rather expensive contract. I think that's the best way to put it. This chair. Who remembers the old videos and the squeaky, squeaky chair? Damn it, there you go. Yeah, goddamn. Isn't that the worst? You get an office chair, like a legit office chair. I don't use the whole racing chair thing for an office chair or like a gaming setup. I got to be completely honest. If anyone's thinking like, oh man, I got to get like a DX Racer or anything like that. Hey, if they want to pay me to tell you they're good, sure. Yeah, racing chairs are overrated as shit and provide no back support. Do have a real office chair though. I've had it for like 2+ years now or so. And obviously I'm in said chair quite a bit. And yeah, squeaky chairs, man. One of the downfalls of society for people on YouTube, Twitch, so on and so forth. It's the absolute worst. Anyway, let's focus on the task at hand here. We have dropped below the Calgary Flames. Heading into February, obviously we have nothing to do trade deadline-wise, so the team is just kind of the team. And again, we'll swap out goaltenders. If the bottom 6 is still looking rough at the beginning of the month, big 8-0 win over Calgary. Crazy there. If it's still looking rough towards the beginning of February, we will look to change up things within the bottom 6. Or perhaps just lines in general, as we avoid losing 2 in a row. So, February 1st, top team in the division by 2 points over the Flames, so we're neck and neck with Calgary. Let's see what we have. Cirelli, a 911 in 18 appearances. Not bad. Still just a 904 for Bob. Not great. Decent enough. Michalski still struggling at the AHL level. Both of our starters at the AHL level now, or both of our goalies at the AHL level, have an 897. So, it's pretty rough, all things considered. Not too much we can do. Defensively, I mean, 8 goals for Pablo, but it's pretty obvious. It's just not a great fit. The rest of the defense is working pretty damn well together. I just don't know if Pablo's the right call up here. But honestly, an OFD and Freddie McCutcheon, I think we give Freddie a chance. I think we do, because we know Pablo's not going to get that much better. So he's not bad, but he also didn't get claimed on waivers when we put him through. So clearly not viewed as like that high priority of a talent to pick up. Unfortunately, Freddie McCutcheon is apparently a terrible fit for Morales. That's not good. Well, Freddie, I don't know what to tell you. You are apparently a terrible fit with everybody, so that really kind of changes the deal here. I think you're going to end up being a healthy scratch. We might call Pablo back up. The next offensive defenseman, do we even have one? It's Cohen Packard, who's terrible. Well, congratulations to Pablo, then. You haven't been amazing, but given that we do not have a better option, you win by default. That is what happens. You win by default. So we'll keep that the same then. Forward-wise, Gavin Sweat, he's just not carrying his weight on that top line. He's getting totally outproduced by Bedard and Eskalainen. You could argue he, as a power forward, gets enough attention that it allows them to do what they're doing, though. Koistin, Zetterberg, Tallinder, I'm pretty damn happy. Only 4 goals for Tallinder. I just don't want to lose the double +5, Just don't want to lose that. Oof, only 8 points. 18 for Grabeshkov. 15 for Morrissey, but a -12. Yeah, I mean, defensively, there are some struggles. But I don't really see what else we can do. Eberle is developing. Vikeland obviously won't get that much better. But I don't think he'll do anything at the NHL level. So I do think we're kind of stuck. That is what we're looking at here. We are pretty damn stuck in terms of our roster makeup right now. I think it's full steam ahead to the end of this season. And from the looks of it, we'll be a playoff team again. But I am now a little bit worried about what we were talking about. Too bad to be good, too good to be bad keeps us in a spot where we'll get no major lottery help and would have to hope for some draft steals to kind of be the missing pieces, or to fill those missing pieces that we have at the moment. But all things considered, we're good enough to do well in the regular season. At this pace, we're certainly looking like a playoff team. Trade deadline's coming up. Pretty damn good run of form there, up to 36 wins on the year now. Bobrovsky up to a 9-12. That's what we want to see. The goaltending starts to figure it out. We're looking pretty good. We do end up losing to Washington. We play Edmonton on deadline day. And we'll see what kind of major trades happen, if anything. At this rate, we're probably not going to recognize any of the names anyway, right? So, back-to-back losses there. 11 goals allowed. Not a great run for Cirelli. So, Bob is back in. We will see what Bob can do. Good win over Columbus. 5-point lead on Calgary. Eskalainen, 84 points in 65 games. Now, that's beautiful. He got another point there. So we lose to San Jose. Wouldn't think that Yerke would be our leading scorer, but I am not complaining. Cirelli is in for this back-to-back. Can he get a win over Florida? Yes, he can. So he'll play Chicago and Toronto as well after that as we continue to pull away from Calgary. Lost to Chicago doesn't help. Lost to Toronto doesn't help. Lost to Toronto never helps. So Cirelli, bit of a rough run. Elliott's still not looking great. Chalski's not dominating the AHL. We don't have a clear, decisive number one goalie at this stage. As Bobrovsky gets roughed up by the Blues, and we are really, really wanting to throw away our lead for the division for what I believe would be the second year in a row. Oof, not the right time to be dropping this many points. Not at all. Neither goalie really instilling confidence. Damn. So what does Michalski have at this stage? A 908. It's a 900 for Elliott. Let's take Elliott out for Blacker, just to give Desmond a couple of games. And honestly, Cirelli, I'm going to put in Yves Gascon for this game. See what she can do. Why not? What's the worst that happens? We lose 8-0 again or something like that? 7-0. 4-3 loss. She earns a point against Nashville and does end up losing to New Jersey. So Not the best performance there, but worth a shot. Let's make Michalski the starter in the AHL again. Calgary, big loss. The Flames jump us. We are going to piss away this division title, aren't we? We do beat Montreal 6-0. We have 4 games left. We can't afford to mess this up. Big win over Vancouver. We have clinched a playoff spot again. Game at hand, point above Calgary. Seattle, we win. That's huge. It's a 3-point lead now with 2 games to go. Arizona, that's a loss. Calgary doesn't win their next game. We should be okay. And we got it. So we have won the Pacific Division for the very first time. We outduel the Calgary Flames to secure it. It wasn't always pretty. It only took 44 wins to garner this division title. But it'll be a Battle of Alberta in round 1. Anaheim on 91 points. I actually don't know who they'll be playing. We'll either be playing Anaheim or Minnesota. Depends on what Winnipeg ends up getting as the Western Conference's top team. In the Atlantic, you have the Florida Panthers, who, won the President's Trophy, obviously. In the Metro, you got Carolina, Philly, Pittsburgh, and the New York Rangers. So we were a top 10 team. We were a top 9 team, for that matter. In terms of goals for at a 3.28, we had a top 5 offense. Goals against is at a 2.95, so mid-table. Sounds about right. Power play, mid-table. Could use some work. And the penalty kill, towards the bottom. Yeah, so we got to adjust our special teams a little bit. That would certainly help. In terms of the points, Jyrki Escalainen and Connor Bedard, both amazing. You had Koistinen also over a point per game. Then you have Talinder and Sweat, neither really dominating like I would have wanted to. Talinder only shot 6.5% all season long. Maybe we shuffle those two around, because Zetterberg and Koistinen seem to work pretty damn well together. And then you have to go down to the 4th line with Austin Roast for our next highest scorer. You had Grabeshkov, Norm Morrissey, Antropov. Oh, man. Real lack of scoring depth. Salvador Doan did end up putting up 41 points, which is very good. He works very well with Backer. 25 points for James. Not too bad defensively. And goaltending-wise, Bobrovsky's our guy, but not the most convincing performance. Not by a long shot. Nathan McKinnon led the way for the forwards. Escalainen and Bedard just 2 of the 4 to break the 100-point mark. Austin Matthews, though, 59 goals. He had a 3-way tie for second with 53. Defensively, you would have seen it. Brett Pesce fucking put up 96 assists, for God's sakes, this season. Quite a few 90-point defensemen. Obviously outrageous, but it is what it is. And goalie-wise, 45 wins for Spencer Knight. 8 shutouts for Eric Portillo. Top save percentage for starters, Vasilevsky at a 919. So maybe our goaltending wasn't that bad. Mika Jokinen is going to end up being the Calder winner for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So we have a couple of things to change. But for the most part, I think the roster does stay the same because, again, we don't have any better forwards to call up. I think we just stick with it. Maybe do put the veterans ahead of the youngsters just to see kind of what they can do. But we end up playing Anaheim in round number 1 back in the playoffs. We do have a series win under our belts. Can we get another one, though, this season?